welcome back to Turntable Guy. You are looking at the back of my Yamaha M-4 power amplifier. And if you look on the speaker terminals that are marked A, you see what I do in order to run my regular speaker cables, which are terminated with banana plugs, on a vintage amplifier, which has the old push button or spring clip style terminals. So what I did is got a couple lengths of, I think this is 14 gauge cable, and what I did is I put a couple female banana plugs on there, and when I use this amplifier, I basically plug into these 4 slots here, and then I can run my standard speaker cables. It's not ideal, but it works, and you know, it's just one of the ways to run banana cables on an old style vintage amplifier. But I've kind of had enough of that. I usually don't like to mess with vintage equipment. I like to leave them as stock as possible. But I do switch out my equipment once in a while. Right now I'm running an NAD amplifier in my system. But there will come a time when the M4 is going to go back into service. And what I would like to be able to do is just to plug my banana cable, speaker cables, right in there. So that is why we are going to install these. There's a set for A and B here. These are custom made. I did not make these. They're custom made by a company in Switzerland, I believe, called speakerterminal.com. And this is not a sponsored video. I ordered these. I paid for them myself, including the shipping from Europe. I thought it'd be a great video to do for someone who's interested in completing this type of modification. These are nicely made. They're custom made, and they should fit perfectly where the old ones are. So those screw holes should line up with the screw holes in the equipment. They're gold plated. They're covered with plastic, so if your banana plugs are bare, they won't conduct. So anyway, nice, but I'm going to tell you this right now, they are not cheap. They are, I think, I'm going to say these were 45 euros, I think, for the pair, which is not horrible. I mean, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, fairly high quality speaker banana plugs and banana jacks, and you're getting a custom made plate. Could you do this yourself? Oh yeah, you could easily do this yourself just by measuring and buying some of these jacks here and doing it yourself. But do I feel like doing that? Absolutely not. There's the company there. But anyway, enough with complaining about pricing. I just didn't feel like making them myself. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the camera up top, and we're going to get to work installing a set of brand new speaker terminals on this 1980 vintage amplifier. So I hope you'll stick with me. I'm sure this is going to be kind of interesting. All right, so this is the top of the M4. There are 4 screws on either side of this cage section. I picked up this amplifier. I'm going to say it's going to be, I don't think it's 10 years yet, but I've had it for a while, and I've got the matching C4 preamp. I have restored these from the ground up. Complete recap. I've changed out some transistors that were sketchy, or what I would call on the sketchy list. So I've done a complete restoration on these electrically. They are in mint condition physically, and they they sound wonderful as well. And that's the those are the 4 screws and curved washers that go in that. The top comes straight off, and it reveals a very big bad boy amp. Okay, so we're not done yet. We've got more stuff to remove. This plate here needs to be removed. Now, I have also changed the big filter caps in this amp, and this is a very big long screw here. It goes all the way through to the bottom of the chassis, like that. And then we've got 2 screws at the back here that we have to remove this plate. Now, I've just put some, the original caps were a little tall, and they would touch this plate. So the ones I've installed are a little shorter, but I put these 2 pieces of foam there just to keep the filter caps from moving around. Not that they will, but this plate should come off now. And you can see the just a piece of foam that I put in there just to hold those. Those are the 2 new filter caps. They're actually, the original filter caps go right through the board and they're soldered in. These are actually clamped by this large clamp here, and it's holding them together, and it's holding them about 5 millimeters off the board. And from there I ran some 14 gauge cable to the connection points on the board. So that's how those filter caps are mounted. They're 15,000 microfarad each at 80 volts, I believe. The originals were 71 volts. And at the back here are our wires for our termination cables here for our speakers. And we're going to have to remove this cable just to get it out of the way. Sorry, I bumped you there. This is the input cable for the other channel. Let's get that out of the way. And then we've got this big copper plate here, and this copper plate actually grounds the speaker terminals here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to remove that or not. Although I would like to. I'm going to try to work around this so that we're not having to remove it. And I'm going to move the amp forward a little bit here. This thing is extremely heavy, just so you know. If you buy an M4, it's a backbreaker. I'm going to zoom in like that. Get over a little bit here. So we're going to be working in this area right here. How's that? That looks pretty good, eh? Yeah, so this is your main ground. It's a big piece of solid copper. It goes underneath these filter caps, actually, and you're going to have to remove the bottom plate if you want to remove this. I believe that these are the negatives for the speaker terminals, and the relays for the speakers are under here as well. So we're going to try and do this without removing those, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's remove our A speaker terminals first. So there's 2 screws that mount it to the chassis. And I guess we should remove these old cables that I made. That's what they look like. Comes out of the way. And do we have enough room here? Yeah, it looks like we have just enough room. So we got a negative here. Our white is our left. We've got 2 blacks that come to the center, to this center one here, 1 black here. I'm sure this is probably just wrapping around the other side. And our red is our right. And I'm just going to undo the B terminals as well, just to see if that gives me a little bit more wiggle room here. And yeah, it kind of does, because I can move this way, and then I can move it back. Yeah, I can get it out quite a bit more there. All right, so that's pretty simple. And they are just basically wrapped around the terminal and soldered. So it's nothing particularly special here. How's your EQ? Oh, your is pretty good there. That's good. Okay, so now does that go to that copper? Yes, it definitely does. Or does that go to the board? Oh, maybe it goes to the board. So yeah, the two black wires here, they go down to the board. So it doesn't matter. We don't have to worry about that. We only have to worry about what's connected here. So we'll grab one of these, and it looks like it's going to have to come in from the back, unless, well, I suppose you could mount it from the front or the back. That's from the front. Although the screws that they give you don't really, well, you know what? You're going to have to mount it from the back, because yeah, the screws are going to have to go through. So yeah, you definitely don't want to mount it from the inside. Okay, so we'll just get these ready. You want your iron really hot. We're going to solder. You could put some, what are these called? Are they spades? No, they're, I don't have any. I have a couple here. You could put a connector like this on there, and then press it on like that if you wanted. That's one way of doing it. It's probably not as secure or as good a connection as soldering, obviously, but that'd be an option as well if you didn't want to solder. You could crimp and then use those. But we're going to solder, and I think what we're going to do here, I would really like to desolder these. I don't want to cut them, because I don't want to shorten my length at all. These are pretty cheap, but you know what I mean. This is where, you know, I'm going to get on the soapbox here and rant about audiophiles. You know, people worry about speaker cables, and they worry about, you know, it's silver and copper, all this stuff. You got to remember that, you know, your speaker terminals eventually terminate at something that's going to go to the amplifier, either by wiring or directly to the board. And, you know, it's one big solid connection. So, you know, people who go crazy for these, you know, $10,000 speaker cables, eventually you're going to get back to this. You're going to get back to, you know, some, 18, 20 gauge wiring here that goes down to the board, and it's going to go down to a solder pad, which is probably going to go through a circuit trace to where the output is, right? So what I usually try to tell people is, do not worry about your speaker cables. Just make sure they are the correct gauge for the length that you're using, okay? So if your speaker cables are 50 feet away from your amplifier, use a good 12 gauge or 10 gauge, right? If they're like 5 feet away, you're okay with 14 gauge. You might even be okay with 18 gauge, right? Every gauge of cable has a certain amount of current that they can handle. So there are some websites out there that will tell you what you need as far as gauge and length, right? So if you're running an 8-foot speaker cable, you know, is a 16 gauge speaker cable enough? It probably is, right? So anyway, I've just been on the soapbox because my soldering iron is getting warmed up. So anyway, we're going to do this one step at a time. I'm not going to do all 8 with you, but I'm definitely going to do a few with you here. And you got to watch out not to burn yourself, because You're kind of working in a tight area here. It's getting hot too. Just be patient, it'll come off. Yeah, they're definitely wrapped around a few times. All right, there's our white, which is our left channel. Positive. Okay, so there you go. Nice and simple. What I don't like about this now is that, you know, you've got solder on here already. I mean, really, I probably should be cutting this back and getting fresh cable. Or even I could be running new cable from the board if I took off the bottom. I'm starting to rethink this a little bit, actually. What is this? It's 20 gauge. So this is 20 gauge wire. And it's what, about, I don't know, 6 inches long, right? And it basically runs right to the board. There are a couple, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, we got over here orange and blue for the B side, and white and red for the A side. So anyway, I am going to continue on. I'm going to keep removing these like I did the first one, and I'm going to severely think about what I'm going to do here. If I do put this in, can I cut and resolder with a fresh connection would be my first choice probably. And if we look at here, I think I have more than enough length to cut and refreshen this connection. So I think I'm going to do that. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my schnips and I am going to cut these. I'm going to strip some fresh connection here. That way I've got nice pliable speaker wire. Wrap that around my new terminal and go from there. Basically what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be coming in, we're going to wrap, we're going to solder, and we're going to be happy. So anyway, let me pause. I'm going to get these removed, and then what we'll do is we'll get these mounted, and I'll be right back. All right, just been wiring these up here. So I've got our white wire to our positive left. This is the A channel, and we've got, I ran a new negative because it's kind of short. This one's got 2 negatives attached. One goes to the copper plate here, and the other goes to the other terminal. And so what I've done is I've just cut off some fresh 18. I'm going to run some 18 gauge. That's all I had. And this is going to go over. So I'm just leaving that loose for now. So we're just going to solder these 3 on. And then there's a negative on the B terminal here that's kind of short too, and it has to come to this one here. So that's next. So when we do the B terminal, we'll do that. So I'm gonna solder these in. I should probably be using a bigger tip than this. Try to heat the terminal and the wire. Thus, the bigger tip would be good. Okay. Okay, so those are soldered in. Good connection there. So yeah, I'm going to run, when I do this side here, the B side. This is the B side right channel. So this has to go to the A side right channel negative here. And then this one is just going to be snipped off because this one here is going to go back over there. So I will continue working and then I'll show you how we mount them in. Okay, our soldering is all done. Here's our A channel. Solder points are all done there. Focus, there we go. Here's our B channel. So we got left negative, right positive. You can see that here. Orange is right positive and blue is left positive. And in this channel we have red as right positive and white as right positive and left positive is white. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this with one hand. It's not going to be easy. Like I said, I did lengthen some of those cables so it'd be easier to get in and out. So what you want to do is put our new terminals in. Aren't they pretty? Just like that. And we're going to put some screws in there. And there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to do this with one hand. So let's see. I've done stranger things in the past. Let's see here. Can I get that in there? This is not going to work. The screw holes match up perfect. So you're definitely, they are expensive, but you're paying for good quality. And the fact that you don't have to do it yourself, right? You don't have to manufacture them yourself. Come on, thread. Nah, it's not threading. I gotta pause, guys. I'm gonna put this one in. I'll be right back. They like that. So there's the old one. they would look like. To that, put our B's in. Oh, I forgot to take the screws out. Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm just going to put that one in. I'll be right back. And there we go. All done. I have to say it looks very factory. It looks great. Again, you can unscrew these. You can put bare wire if you want. I don't know if they accept spades. I think they do. Yeah, that'll accept a spade. So bare wire, spade, or what I like to use is banana plugs. Just go right in there. Nicely made. Here's our wiring here. All our solder connections. We ran some new 18 gauge cable. And I cut these two short pieces that go in between the A and B channels. And I just used some hookup cable. And for Canadian viewers, you can pick this stuff off at whatchamacallit, Princess Auto is where I picked this up. And this is just 18 gauge copper wire. That's all you need. And that is it. That is the Yamaha M-4 speaker terminal replacement. This will work on any power amplifier. If you go to this website, you can pop in your model number. Don't forget to reinstall this cable. Pop in your make and your model, and they should have it in stock. Lots of Yamaha products. NAD, I even saw it for NAD 3240, which is another amp that I have. Not that one's got banana cables. I wouldn't replace it. These are higher quality, obviously, but you know, it's I don't think you need to replace it. Is this going to sound better? No. Right? A connection's a connection. I really believe that. You know, there's your old ones. These crappy pieces of, I don't know what they are, steel, who knows what they are. The amplifier sounds wonderful, even with this piece of garbage. So will it sound better with these? I doubt it. It's just, for me, it's convenience sake, because I do switch out my amplifiers. And I just want to be able to plug my banana plugs right into the back of my amp. I don't want to screw around with the spring clips and my adapter. So that's it. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope you found this one interesting. It's a little bit different. Hopefully to get back to some turntables soon. Catch you next video. Thanks. Bye.